Welcome to the new and improved and inclusive, allegedly, Alberta, where we'll be joined by members of the Alberta Indigenous Alliance, as well as Indigenous Sovereignty in Alberta, and other guests and comrades throughout the time. We are now proud to be part of the Alberta Indigenous Alliance in partnership with the Indigenous Sovereignty in Alberta. And speaking of which, we bring in our comrade NJ Mahikan. NJ, how
Hello.
you doing tonight?
Not too bad yourself?
We're doing all right. So we got lots to discuss.
Oh,
Um,
do we
it's
ever?
going to be, yeah, it's going to be a big amount of stuff we're going to have to discuss. People need to understand that what we're seeing in this province is not just coming from out of nowhere. That this stuff has been planned for a while, and it's not like what some people are describing as
Are
it's coming
now
some of these
in
things
collaboration
that people
as
are
the
saying are
Alberta
coming are
Indigenous
actually already
Alliance.
here. And we're proud to have yourself and the other comrades from the Indigenous Sovereignty in Alberta. How about a little bit of a background behind the Indigenous Sovereignty in Alberta group?
So it was created by direction from an elder. They were concerned with the fact of what Danielle Smith is doing here in Alberta and the fact that ignoring Indigenous peoples and, in fact, encouraging separatism from, without being rude, white separatists, basically. Uh, the chiefs of Alberta have all released letters talking about a cease and desist. So we're basically attempting to inform people about the treaties and where they live. Now, Alberta was created only in 1905. The treaties predate that in the 1800s. So this thought of separatists thinking like Alberta should be a country within itself, whereas this is Treaty 6 and Treaty 7 land, Treaty 8 and 10 and the Métis. That's where people should be focused on. Separatism in today's world doesn't make any sense at all in the slightest. So we are here as an organization to inform people of where they live. Alberta, if you really want to get the nitpick of it, is only 5% of the province. The rest is all treaty land. And so we're here to remind people that you need to remember where you live. And again, for me personally, I can't speak for the rest of everyone else, but where was this energy back when the Métis and the Indigenous were fighting for their own lands? Now it's been flipped, and they're like, "Well, we deserve to have this land." Where does that better come from? What? Why? Like,
From my side here, being a white ally and advocate, and I use the term accomplice because I don't believe allyship. You can fake allyship, I believe. You can't fake being an accomplice. Accomplice basically puts something on the line, and so risking things is what I believe an accomplice should do. But I see this as we're trending back towards the 1930s, around the World War II era. And why World War II took place was a certain aspect of life was pushed on a group of people, and they're just pushing their agenda. And this just seems like, from what's going on down south to what's going on here in the province to Ontario and some places in Canada are not dealing with this to the level, but it's coming. And I feel that this is like the rapture or close to it. That we're in a time where uh we had so much progression and progressive work, bringing aspects of Indigenous culture, bringing aspects of the 2S community to the forefront and into conversations. Now we're like backtracking, and ultimately it's like a bully, right? We can't say, okay, well, we gave you some rights, so we want to take a little bit of rights back, or we want our rights back. It's we want you to have no rights, and we want it to go back to this land where they're going,
Yeah.
I'm a fourth generation Albertan. I'm going, that doesn't exist. The only way you're a fourth generation Albertan is if you're Indigenous. If you're not Indigenous, you're not fourth generation Albertan, because we're looking at generations, like you said, prior to Alberta being created, the Indigenous population wrote the treaties with the Crown. It had nothing to do with Alberta, because Alberta didn't exist.
Precisely, and that's the thing. Is like I don't know what their mentality is, but these separatists and these people who are so like pro Alberta, like being independent. Like, okay, if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't survive. Number one. Number two, when it comes to Indigenous peoples being put in reserves in Alberta, let alone like look at Musqueam, for example, we were the most successful crop growers on the land that gave us that wasn't supposed to yield crop, but we managed to do it. And the settlers that were in the area got really mad and pissed off because we were successful. So they petitioned the government to stop us. So when we're successful and we're doing great, it's like they're like, oh, woe is me. The Indian needs to be put down. Pardon my language. But that's what they said back in the day. They need to be stopped. They can't sell crop, anything like that, even though we were way more successful.
And I mean, that term, you're not going to hear me say it unless I'm talking about someone from India, just because that whole PC aspect or whatever. Also, the fact that that word to describe your people, it should not be what we're utilizing. I mean, and it's basically a colonizer term. So when we're sitting here celebrating or honoring or whatever you want to say, and we're being whitewashed here in Canada with an education of Columbus made a great discovery of North America, and then we had a great Thanksgiving feast where we sat with our Indigenous brothers and sisters. It's bullshit.
Yeah, don't get me started on that fucking bullshit, because honestly,
cut out that point where we, as whites and as colonizers, we provided you infested blankets and provided you with disease. And then on the other side of the coin, we provided you with alcohol that was different than what you guys were consuming before, and bringing addiction to the mix, because God knows we have to have addiction, because addiction can be controlled, right? And it's still that today, where we're looking at the forced addiction services from this province, where it went from being, we're going to help people through addiction and mental health, to Recovery Alberta, where we can force you into treatment, and that's it. There's no, we're not looking at real aspects of bringing you back or doing anything good in your life. It's, we're going to lock you up. And the whole concept of the lockup is about control.
Growing up being Indigenous in Alberta is extremely tough, because you do lose a sense of that you don't have the right to control what you do with your life. For example, myself, I made my mistakes, not afraid to admit it. And even just as a free man, we're still told where to go, what to do. We can't do this, we can't do that. We have to abide by the white man's rule. And it's plagued me my entire life. So it's always bugged me, because it's like being trapped in a place where you cannot get out of, no matter what you do. So with the addiction part too, it's the minute that someone knows you're Indigenous, like, yeah, myself, like, I have tattoos, I got scars, and I have a history. They immediately look at you like you're second class or lower class. and that you deserve to be on the reserve only, and you can't do anything. And if you're out in a white man's world, which is Alberta, you have to abide by the white man's rule. And it's like, but we were here first, and I shouldn't have to be afraid to leave the reserve or even leave Red Deer, where I'm at right now. I shouldn't be afraid to go travel to Edmonton without being honked at or glared at or get the middle finger just going down the, pardon my language, the fucking highway. Like, it's even just going to a restaurant. Everyone just like looks at you like, it's like, okay, we're not all addicts or drunks or stuff like that. If you actually talk to an Indigenous person who's struggling and hear their stories, you understand why they're in the position they're in right now.
About having those tough conversations,
Yep.
and about really difficult topics that I don't think, and I mean, we've had conversations within our leadership of the Alberta Indigenous Alliance that they're not being asked, right? There's things that people are covering here that maybe they'll do a 3-minute TikTok video, something will go viral or whatever. They'll pick and choose what they talk about, but they're not getting into the brass tacks of things or into actual. I don't think we'll have all the answers because we're just two individuals here, and our group is not here to provide the answers. If anyone is watching and wants to provide some answers, hey, we're all for it. We're all
I'm
for
open for conversation. Yeah, I'm open for conversation. Like, if you're not
and that's the thing. So I think the first thing people need to understand is we are nonpartisan. So we have our ideals of what we would want to see in a political spectrum or any sort of political aspect, but we're not, because you cheer for, because basically we have teams in politics right now. There's no such thing as what it was when we were growing up, where you actually had a difference in political structure between the parties. Now it's like the WWE, where you've got the heels and you've got the faces, and you got the in-betweeners there that will play both sides depending on where they're at, and it's all just spectacle. It's not accomplishing anything. I mean, today's example, where we're talking about separatism here, we're talking about the sovereignty for Indigenous people in Alberta, and we were outside the Alberta Next panel in Red Deer, and we stood there. We didn't yell, we didn't swear, we didn't do anything. However, the people that drove by us did a lot of swearing, yelling, cursing, all those sorts of things, disrespectful behavior to us that were just there, standing there representing the voices of the voiceless, right? And making a stand, saying not everyone here in your stacked deck of a town hall, which is basically just a beer hall rally, is for what you guys are presenting. And when we're sitting there having those conversations, we're sitting there going, well, why are you for separatism? And a lot of people can't answer that. It's just, well, I don't want Carney to control us. I don't want this to control. Oh, federal does whatever. And I'm going, don't misunderstand us here. We're not fans of the federal government ourselves. Like, we're not fans of, like, for me, I'm not a fan of any government. Not saying let's go anarchy at this point, but I'm just saying, like, the governmental system that we're under is not beneficial to Indigenous people, number one, but to people that are dealing with poverty. Like, it's gotten to the point where you're being punished for being in poverty. So a lot of the stuff that's happening governmentally is totally affecting negatively for people in poverty, people on AISH, people on disability.
Yeah, I can chip in on that one actually with the whole
Yeah, for
AISH.
sure.
All right, so I'm an AISH myself. So I've been on AISH since 2012. It's a heart condition, which we found out was recent, just heart condition. Also, I have epilepsy. So unfortunately, I'm unemployable. Now, this month alone, just this month, like just 2 days ago, I was denied benefits from AISH, sorry. And I was like, okay, I have to pay my bills. I got to pay for my car insurance. I got to pay for my rent. I got to make sure that I have enough money in the bank so that I have something for the month. they denied me 24 hours. I was like, okay. So I called in, and it took me till today. They're like, oh, yeah, we'll release your funds for you. But on top of that, I have 2 kids under my care. And they denied me that because, like, oh, well, we looked at your file and they're not with you all the time. So we're gonna take the money from you. I'm sitting there going, like, but for this entire time, I've been getting supports to support myself and my family. Like today was, uh, uh pardon my language, a fucking shit show. I had to worry about, okay, talking to my landlord, make sure that they knew that the money was coming in. I had to talk to my insurance company. I had to talk to other people's that I, had been owed money to, and even to my mechanic. Because I'm like, they just screwed me over because I just lost this revenue that's meant to keep me alive. And on top of that, too, they're making me go and file for the disability tax credit, and they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, you have to pay for it out of pocket. You have to pay your doctor. When Danielle Smith, I remember clearly, Danielle Smith said, no Albertan will have to pay for any medical things. And I have to pay $170 on an AISH that's very low, even though they say it's a huge amount, and it's amazing, and it's great. Trump. It's amazing. And now I'm stuck in the lurch. Now I'm in debt, and then I have to get another medical test done for my fucking driver's license so I can keep driving, so I can take my wife to work, and I can take my kids to work, or sorry, school. It's just what the actual living fuck is going on here. And I'm hearing from people on TikTok and Facebook, and they're saying the same thing. People across Alberta on AISH are like losing money, and they're going, well, how the hell am I supposed to pay my rent? How am I supposed to pay for bills? How the hell am I supposed to pay for food? And like, of course, if you listen to a right winger, they'll be like, well, get a job. It's like, well, we can't get a job. Like myself, yes, I look really good. I don't know, Indigenous. Just kidding. But like my heart condition, stress just makes it worse. And if I'm on a job site and I suddenly collapse, my heart's like, no, we're done. Like you're too much pressure. I collapse. That's a liability for the people I'm working for. So AISH is the best option because I can still help out with the community. I can go do events. I can help out as best I can without putting myself at risk and harm. Danielle Smith has, pardon my language again, has fucked up majorly with the whole AISH issue. They have screwed over thousands of Albertans who are relying upon this just to survive. And even just to survive is like not even the right terminology because it's a pain in the ass every month just to pay rent.
Yeah.
And then once it's gone, it's gone. And then what are you gonna do for the next 3 weeks?
There's what's presented and what's real. And then when it comes to what's real and you having to deal with an AISH caseworker and the fact that they've cut funds to those aspects so you don't have as many workers on, which means that it takes longer to get through to people. Everything's about streamlining processes, but it's not streamlining shit. Like if anyone looks at anything the government has done, their website is just atrocious. So how are you supposed to figure out how to do these sort of things? And not to say anything like your situation is your situation, but you're one of the lucky ones that has actually been able to qualify for AISH, because I'm looking at the application form now, and
oh yeah,
my God, what a bunch of horse shit that you have to go through. And if you are sitting there, like, because I'm looking at the list of disabilities that you could qualify for, and I mean, I'm disabled myself, but it's enough that with the right work environment I could actually work. Unfortunately, with my current structure of not supporting Marlena Danielle Smith, I am not employable in this province right now. So no one wants to bring on the guy who's actually ready to take on for the people. not just sit here and spew bullshit and make a bunch of money off of going viral, but actually speaking out and doing those things. I've handcuffed ourselves, but looking at that Aish,
you have to pay out of pocket just to get the fucking form filled out, because you got to go
yeah,
through all the loops. You got to do all this kind of stuff, and like a close friend of mine, because they do qualify for AISH as well. They're like, I'm looking at like 5 years of waiting just to even get the paperwork filed and sent in, and then they gotta wait. And it's like, okay, so why are you making it harder for disabled peoples or people on age? Why are you
yeah.
making it harder for them when it's already hard enough, even just as a ordinary person going to work, 9 to 5, whatnot, making ends meet, and then it's like, okay, well, good luck. It's like,
Well, it
there's a
comes
judge.
back to the discussion of the separatism, right? And what
Mm-hmm.
is this the key thing for separatism? It's about having the strongest, the make Alberta great again. We have the strong, able-bodied people that we work hard in this province, and we deserve this and we deserve that. And it's a way to other people that are struggling, or other those that don't fit in the box, right?
Have you
And
also, like, well, with all, like, all due respect, Darren, with that too, have you noticed that the right wing or the separatists, they always say the same thing? Well, go out there and get a job.
yeah,
We've been trying. We have literally been trying. Like myself, even though I'm on age, I shouldn't be working. I'm not allowed to work. I'm not employable at all. Yet I'm still out
yeah,
there trying to look for a job, but I know I don't want to put any of my other coworkers or the community in danger. But then they always scream at us, well, why are you protesting? Go and get a job. Go.
mm-hmm,
And it's like, make that make sense. Because aren't you supposed to be at work too then? Because why are you at these town halls or counter protesting or driving by with a big rigged ass truck? What are you doing? Especially on the
yeah.
weekend. Like
And
when we
then
went
and
to the
then
town
like
hall.
on the other side of the coin here, for where I have the battle, is our progressives, and those ones that are pro, they're pro conservative but not pro right wing conservative. They call themselves small c conservatives. And right now in political language, their fit is in between the NDP and a potential new party, renamed from the Alberta Party to be the Progressive Conservatives, which is like an oxymoron. There's no such thing as a progressive conservative. Like, it's just you're conservative or you're progressive. You can't be both. But
Mhm.
but the point is, who's all out there? It's retired people. It's people that are of status, people with wealth, with privilege, whatever, that don't have to worry about where their next paycheck is coming from, because they've got a good pension, or they've got a partner who's working, and they've got a good income, they've got a house paid off, all these sort of things. That's who is representing supposedly the people of Alberta in these protests against the government. So
Mhm.
why would someone, if I have everything, why would I want to actually give up anything to provide to people that have nothing? If I'm truly, and this is where come to the latest design I put up, for our fundraising effort, of nice people make good fascists, while kind people make good trouble. Because a kind person is a person who cares about more than just themselves. They care about the community, care about their family, their friends, their neighbors. They're not just self interest. Where a nice
Mhm.
person, like, what I look at it, like when we were kids, what did our parents say if we were going to somewhere, or our elders or whatever? What did they say if we're going somewhere where there was a person we really didn't like? Oh, just be nice to them, because we can fake being nice to people. You can't fake
Mhm.
being kind.
That is
So
true.
when we're looking at our alliance, we're trying to find like-minded people that are kind. So we're not trying to be kind because it's the cool thing to do. Like, it's cool to be kind, absolutely, but we're going to be kind because if you're not kind, then there's so much self-interest. We're screwed. Like, the only way we're going to do anything in this province is to actually come together in numbers. And this is where the argument with the separatists are, because if you're a person who's driving the big expensive $90,000 truck and giving us the finger and all that stuff, you don't care about your fellow man because you're driving a gas guzzler and whatever. You've got the money, or you've at least put yourself into serious debt and it hasn't come back to bite you yet. But there's people that believe in separatism, that believe that Ottawa is the enemy, which, again, all politicians are enemies. So don't think that, and get into that. I've got to this point, and then we'll get to the other point I wanted to make. But it's that whole thing of there's people that are struggling, that are in poverty. There's people on AIA that are going to these things that are voting for separatism, that want to see Alberta.
That wasn't me with my hand up saying I was voting for separatism.
No. It was just the people on AIA going and doing some protesting. But there's people that were in that town hall that are struggling to make ends meet. That they'll go to the town hall, they'll say whatever, and then they're on the buy and sell, or they're on the community info page. Hey, I didn't get paid well this week, or I'm struggling. Does anyone have something that they could help us feed the kids, or whatever? But you're going to go out and freaking honk your horns and support the trucker convoy and the freedom convoy, who are stealing money from people left, right, and center to under the guise of freedom. And there's the other point is the fact that these people, so the separatists and the freedom fighters, are pretty much the same cloth, right? I want to know how, if you want freedom and you don't agree with government, how the fuck are you supporting Marlena Daniel Smith in the UCP, or Pierre Poilievre in the CP? Like how the fuck are you supporting conservatives if you are about anti-government? Because these bastards are putting through more, like Smith has paid more money to her cabinet than any cabinet in the history of Alberta, and Alberta's been all conservative with the exception of the 4 years that Notley and NDP were in, and it's had the biggest cabinet and the biggest amount of salary for government officials in a lifetime, in a time where we're all supposed to tighten our belts and pull up our bootstraps and all the other bullshit narratives that are provided by these.
I've heard that statement all my life. I've heard that all my life.
It's a capitalist mindset, and capitalism, contrary to the belief of people, cannot survive without socialism. But you don't understand the socialism that you're getting is called corporate socialism, and it only works for the elite. So when you're looking at the capitalist system and we're looking at investments and looking at all these different things, what people need to realize, when we hit a recession or we hit a downturn in the economy, you know who gets affected? It's the people in poverty or slightly better. You know who doesn't get affected? It's the fucking guys at the top and all the politicians that freaking prop them up. Because the fact is that when people lose their homes like they did in 2008 under the housing crisis and the bubble burst, first people to go and capture those fucking things are companies like BlackRock and Vanguard, and they don't give a shit if those houses are used. They're just collateral for whatever investment they want to do. So when you're looking for a new house or looking for something for a rental or looking to buy, fuck, we were never going to buy another home. Like, I had the privilege years ago to own a townhouse on Vancouver Island, BC. We bought it, and then the market went, and we were trying to rent it out while we were here, and we had tenants that were shit, and we had a management company that was supposed to be managing, but they picked these tenants that were shit, and they were like destroying our house, so we had to hire people to go fix the house after we fired the management company, and we finally got to sell it, and we got a slight profit, but we had to hold on to that house for 6 years. So we were paying the mortgage on that house and the rent on our place here, and all the insurances and all the different fees back and forth, and we're supposed to claim it as an investment, and it was a loss. Everything we were just piling the shit in, because unlike the capitalist elite that can buy a home and do whatever, buy a business and fucking put it down the toilet and use it as a tax write-off, the average person can't. So now, when we're talking about we sold the home to have some sort of savings, everything turns on a dime in this province. We have economists that are working with the government that are fucking pricing everything at the price of oil being X amount of dollars per barrel. And it's always projecting $20-$30 higher than what the actual value is going to be. So then they're just, with the projections, all the budgets are going to be totally out of whack. So when you have that shit and you have no money coming in, and you've got all your bills, cost of living's going up, cost of food's going up, you're never going to buy a home. And then you have all these fucking places that are owning all the homes and buying houses as investment properties. You can't rent. And then the average person who went and bought the home at a extremely higher cost than what the value is of it now, at a higher interest rate, they are now having to charge more for rent to compensate for the loss of income. And then there's also the greasy fuckers that just raise the rent, because in Alberta, it's the Wild West. There is no cap on rent. There is no, like in BC, as shitty as it is, I can say the rental aspect is a lot better, because they can't charge more than a half a month's rent for a deposit, and they can't they can only go a certain percentage a year up in increase of rental. So here they can double, fucking triple, whatever the case may be, and demand you have 2 months rent. So you have the first month and last month plus your deposit. So if you're saying your average home rental, like I think I was looking at a 1-bedroom or something with average in the area was about $1,500 a month. You're looking at, just to get in the door, $4,500. Where the fuck are people that are struggling for income going to get $4,500? And that's just to get your place. That's not to pay for renter's insurance. That's not to pay for if it's in a strata. That's not to pay for any of the other things, or moving expenses, like all this stuff. So the average person these days, and that's if you are only one person or a couple. If you have kids or pets, holy shit, is it hard to find rentals, because no one wants those things.
Speaking of pets, I'll be right back, all right? Please continue.
No problem. Animals galore with
I know, right? It's I'll be right back.
It's all good. So folks, as we wait for Mahikan to come back to the conversation, again, like and subscribe on our YouTube channel, Allegedly in AB, on our Blue Sky at abpoly.ca, on TikTok, Allegedly in AB, on Twitch, twitch.tv/allegedly in AB, and all merchandise, including we're working with our design team. We got Tyler, part of the group. He's working on some great designs. He designed the flag logo for Indigenous Sovereignty in Alberta, and we're going to come up with some new designs for the Alliance. and those will be available at abpoly.ca. And speaking of abpoly.ca,
good trouble, necessary trouble. If we do enough, we can burst that bubble of fear.
Do not get lost in a sea of despair. Be hopeful. Be optimistic. Our struggle is not the struggle of a day, a week, a month, or a year. It is the struggle of a lifetime. Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble. Necessary trouble.
Nice people make good fascists. Kind people make good trouble. Now available in the Good Trouble collection. Designed in Canada. Printed in Canada. Distributed in Canada. Only available from abpoly.ca. The following message has been authorized by Alberta Accountability Alliance. ABPoly